Good morning, everybody. Big Thursday. Crystal, what's going on?
Well, in the wake of the marathon testimony of Robert Mueller yesterday, I think we are left to ponder one question. What did we just watch? We'll get into that and more today on Rising. All right, Sagar, we've got some things to discuss. What are you looking at?
We certainly do. It's Mueller time. It's a phrase that we heard that captured the minds of boomers across this country. They celebrated it. They drank tea. They went to happy hours in order to watch the hearings and James Comey. They obsessed over the minutia of this case endlessly. They convinced in the minds of the Rachel Maddow viewer that President Donald Trump would be removed unceremoniously from office. If you're Luis Mensch, you thought he'd be dying in prison. Well, a lot of that was exposed when the special counsel testified before Congress yesterday. He could barely remember the word conspiracy. He didn't even have appeared to read his own report. It was a complete disaster for the Democratic Party. Chris Wallace perhaps said it best on Fox News. He was quoted by the President of the United States. It's been a disaster for the Democrats and a disaster for the reputation of Robert Mueller. It genuinely showed that so many of the Republican complaints about Robert Mueller's staff are actually quite valid, because it seems like they're the ones who ran this investigation and who wrote this report. Mueller was reminded at several times about small details which everybody who has followed this case would know, and the man who's leading the investigation apparently did not know them. What it demonstrates to me is just how bankrupt the establishment Democratic Party is at this moment. If you're a Jerry Nadler, Elijah Cummings, Maxine Waters, this is the best that they could come up with. This is where I sympathize so much with AOC and with the rest of the squad, which is I genuinely believe that them and the other insurgents like Bernie are actually fighting in order to do something substantive, and that the fight with them is about a substantive vision for this country. But this procedural BS that we saw with the special counsel is exactly what the American people are so sick of, and exactly what Trump ran against in 2016. And so I really have the question for Jerry Nadler and for so many of these collusion-obsessed Democrats, which is, what are you for? What do you think that people want you to do in Congress? Is it to spend 7 months twiddling your thumbs, trying to get an aged man who obviously did not want to be there and was barely there, to have him expound on a report which did not deliver what you wanted? Democrats made the fatal bet that the movie would be better than the book, but it turns out that both were complete duds. And I think, Crystal, I know that you already agree with me, because you've talked about this before. Is people need to move on. Everybody needs to move on. Even the GOP base, they are spun up to the point where they think it's a legitimate government coup attempt against Donald Trump, and I'm somewhat sympathetic to that view. But again,
ridiculous, but
arguing over the minutia of all of this is just so ridiculous, and their time is coming. If you want to actually dig into the details of this case and how it all began, we can do that. Many of the people who work here at this own outlet are doing it, and it's not going to look good. When the actual history of this thing is written, it will be a complete disaster for the Democrats.
It was so painful watching that unfold yesterday. I think, and even now, when you look at the coverage on MSNBC, CNN, etc., they're like hanging on and parsing his every word. Right. How can you, when this is an individual who clearly did not have full grasp of what was in the report, of even the questions that were being asked to him? The whole thing just was so painful to watch. It actually made me angry as someone who has aging parents, that somebody had to have known, right, that he was really not up to the task. And to make him go forward with this anyway, I think was just really cruel, honestly.
Yeah.
To your point, every dream, hope, fantasy, wish, desire of the MSNBC mom has now come crashing down.
What will these suburban wine moms do now? Michael Avenatti's gone.
Come on over, guys.
Please come. Avenatti's now, going to prison or whatever. He's being charged. Robert Mueller turned out to be a complete dud. What are they going to do?
Yeah.